Real easy, all right? Don't get too crazy. There you go. Now open her up. Give her the beans. Nope. Okay. Hey everybody, we're back at it. We're back out here in the garage because we need to make more power. Follow along today as we improve the old rat rod T-bucket go-kart with about 3 times as much horsepower. Okay, so if you guys caught our last video, we put this go-kart together, which is just super cool. We made it out of an old handmade wagon that we built years and years back. And if you guys haven't seen that video where we put this go-kart together, I'll put a link up right over here in the corner. You guys can click on that and watch that video. It's pretty good. But spoiler alert, at the end of that video you see that this thing just doesn't really get around very well. And I think the reason why is because this engine, my dad was awesome. He gave it to us to put it on here and let the kids use. But it's only a 2-horse Briggs & Stratton, and it just doesn't pull. And I wish I had a bigger sprocket for the axle. I got the biggest one I could find. That might help with some gearing, but it just doesn't get going. Like, put it up on the jack stand, bring up the RPM, and it comes up, it regulates, it does everything it's supposed to, but then you get out there and it just doesn't have enough power to pull and get itself up on speed. So it could have something to do with the fact that it's a really old engine and it's only a 2-horse, and that we live up here at about 7,500 feet above sea level here for elevation wise. So it's hard to get performance anyway. But we're gonna fix all that today, right? Yep. How are we gonna do it? New engine, more power. That's it. So we went and spent $100. Harbor Freight, brand new 6.5 horse 212cc gas engine. And then I went on Amazon and we spent about 65 or 70 bucks more, and in here should be a torque converter, because from what I could tell that engine, it just really was almost too much for the clutch on a go-kart with a live axle. So we figured with that setup, the recommendation was go with a torque converter. So we're gonna do it. So first thing we ought to do, we ought to rip this engine off, huh? Take that thing apart and pull it off of there, and then we can unbox this bad boy, see what we got to do to get it broken in, see what parts we have, and we'll have to do some modifying, I'm sure, to the throttle linkage to get it to work for a go-kart instead of just like a utility engine. All right, and then we'll be doing wheelies before we know it. Okay. All right, let's tear this engine off and see what we can do. Annie and I got the engine ripped off, made way for more horsepower. All right, kiddo, open it up. Let's unbox this thing. Let's show everybody what's in it, okay? Yeah, so this is the Predator 212cc 6.5 horse. You get it at Harbor Freight, normally priced 125 bucks. If you're real nice and ask them at the counter, they'll have a coupon, or if you can get it in the mail or whatnot. It's hard to find those coupons anymore, but they mark it down to 99 bucks. So brand new, from what I've read, that gets good reviews and everything. So I'm excited to see what's in it, and then we'll see what else we can do with that torque converter and whatnot, okay? All right, do we need these? Nah, we don't need those. No, I'm just kidding, we're gonna need them in a minute. You know what that's for? Spark plug tool. All right, okay, here it is. Annie says it's humongous. It is, especially compared to that little guy we pulled out of here. But this is it. It's really nice. It's a quality piece. We're gonna break out the instructions and see. There's some stuff we're gonna have to do, I think, for breaking it in. And then I'm gonna have to come in here and here, hold it steady, would you, kiddo? This throttle. See how stiff the throttle is? We're gonna have to come in there, and I think there's a friction washer. Yeah, under there. We can take that apart and do a little magic on there, and maybe even make our throttle cable work where the way it was rigged in there before. But that should be pretty slick, man. Should be a 3/4 inch shaft here on it. And it's really nice because this has a regular kill switch, which we will go on in here and we'll jumper and we'll come right up here to our kill switch that's within reach of the driver. There's always stories behind this, but I had an experience from my childhood where we didn't have a kill switch on a go-kart, and we really should have. So there you go. We'll rig that in. Okay, so we just set it on here to see how she fits, and it looks pretty close. I think we're gonna try to fire it up, make it run, and then as long as we know that this thing runs and it seems okay, that I don't have to take it back right away, then we'll break out our clutch and stuff, our torque converter, and try to bolt that on.
We have about that
Okay,
much.
let's put a little bit more in it.
Okay.
Okay? While she's checking that, here's the oil we're running in it. It says to run 10W30, regular SAE 10W30, so I'm using my VR1 racing oil, which is what I run in all my old cars, mainly because of the high zinc in it, so that it doesn't mess up the camshafts on my flat tappet camshafts. Figure if it's good enough for my race car, good enough for the go-kart. How does that look?
See.
Perfect.
Up there. Nice.
Perfect.
All right.
Let's cap it. Okay. That ought to be enough to get it going.
Should I wipe that bit off?
Yeah, wipe it off a little bit, kiddo. Alright, so we filled up our oil, we filled up our gas. We've got this nice and securely clamped down to the bench here. All we really want to do now is we want to make sure this thing's going to run. It doesn't sound like it's going to blow up on us. And then we can mount our torque converter on it. So let's give it a shot.
Adjust throttle.
Okay, adjust throttle. It's up a little ways. Okay?
Switch on.
Switch on.
Full start and choke to run.
Okay. Well, all we did.
Oh yeah!
No kidding, that thing started on the first pull. That was the first pull we gave it, and it's not that loud. It's quieter than that other engine. I think this thing's gonna work. I think it's gonna work. What do you think?
It's pretty good.
You guys believe that? That was no joke, man. Very first pull. Okay, Annie is carefully opening up the box, which hopefully has her torque converter. Hopefully it doesn't have her birthday present or something in there instead. But that's gonna, the kit said it was supposed to bolt right onto here. And we'll see how that whole thing works, but it should bolt up in about 10 minutes. So I think we're gonna mess with it up here while we got it on the workbench. And then we'll just lift the whole thing off. We'll come over here and we'll try to mount it up on the car and see how it goes. So, okay, here's what we're dealing with the torque converter. Annie, can you open that one up? There we go. And then we have all of these parts. Yes.
Oh boy, that's fun.
Nice, all of our bolts and stuff. Good. Okay. Yep, and there's the other part of the torque converter. Good. Somebody in a review that I was reading about it said that their go-kart did wheelies with the torque converter on there. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Okay, back at it. Here's what we've come up with now. With this bracket swung on there for the torque converter, in order for it to fit, it hits down here. And the only way we could figure that out is to lift up the back of the engine. But I also noticed in order to make our sprockets line up, the whole engine has to be offset over from where the older engine was. The older engine sat all the way over here. So, see if we can figure that out. We'll bring you guys back when we have a solution. That solution might be, well, it's going to have to be, maybe. Actually, we can probably do a little adapting and build us a little adapter that'll fit that engine on. We'll see. We'll figure that out. Anyway, we're going to have to do some adjustments though, huh, kiddo? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll make it happen, but this guy's going to rip once we get it done. We'll bring you back when we have some solutions here. All right, So what we decided on this thing finally is we're just gonna come in here and I'm gonna cut this thing out, chop this plate out. I'm gonna go over there, I'm gonna bolt it to the bottom of the engine, whichever direction makes the most sense. I'm gonna bring the engine back over here, and you know, based on how everything else is, of course we can cut and move any of this we need to, but we're just gonna put it in the position where everything's gonna line up and everything fits and clears, and we're gonna weld this bracket back in place. You know, make sure it still has the adjustability and everything. But I think that's gonna be the easiest way about it. As long as I can cut it off without cutting my brake hose there or anything, we'll be good. But yeah, that's gonna be the quickest way to go about doing this. Yeah, but it's dinner time. So we're gonna knock out some, do some dinner, and then we start school tomorrow again and everything. So we'll see how much the kids can get out here and help. But we should get this thing going pretty quick. Supposed to have a couple of nice weather days this week. I'd love to have them out there thumping away on this thing before the snow flies again, which should be in about 3 days. So whew, wish me luck. We'll see what we can get done. All right, we're back at it, huh? Mm-hmm. All we had to do was think about this for a little while, and we got us a solution. Let me show you what we're going to do to solve this problem. Here's what we came up with. We had to basically cut our motor plate loose and just have it bolted to the engine and sitting in there. What we're going to do is once we get it all in place, we'll put in our side supports, bolt, and weld it in. But all we had to do really is cut this corner off the frame. Okay, we cut that off, and then what I'll do to fix this is I think I'll come in underneath with something and just drop it down. It goes around like that, you know, and that'll give us the support we need. But that clears everything, lets our chain connect. I mean, we get that set up, we should be rocking before too long. So now I got to come in here and you can see that little tight space. I got the side bars for our engine mount. I gotta lay them in there and kind of tack everything in place, unbolt the engine, and we'll weld it in. I might have to trim this one just a smidge more for the alignment of it all. But that lets everything clear. Everything clears. Our disc brake, all, we can still pull start. Whoops, she's not steady. Okay, still pull start it and all that. So sometimes you just got to sit down and think about something for a day, and then you'll come up with a solution without getting too crazy. So, all right, Annie and I have a little bit of tack welding to do to get this set up, and then we will hopefully bring you back here when we're ready to smoke test this thing, huh? Mm-hmm. All right, let's do it. All right, guys, update time. Number one, my garage is a disaster. We need to finish this project so we can get it out of the garage, and I can move on to many other projects we got going on. There's an Easter egg for a future video. Let's check out what we did on this go-kart to figure it out. So with this clearance issue on this side, I was able just to cut the corner of the frame out, and then I just had some other square tube, and I built a little piece to go in there, and that drops it down just enough. And that'll give it some stability and keep this axle from flexing on this side. We reset our motor plate and got it in position where we want it to go. I think it's in a good spot. Actually, I know it is. We had the motor all mocked up in there, and I tacked it in place and just pulled the motor off. Welded it all in. It's not pretty, but it's like the last nice day before about a week of just crappy weather here. So I really want to throw this thing on, smoke test it. I'm going to holler at those kids that are out there playing, have them come in and help me put this engine on. Let's go give it a shot. Okay, so we got it installed, didn't we, kiddo? Yep. All right, it's all in, everything's hooked up, bolts are torqued down. We hooked up our throttle cable. It doesn't quite get full throttle, and that's okay with me for this go around. But I think we're going to fire this thing up here with it on the jack stand and see how it works. You ready to? Yep. Okay, let's do it. Okay, let's try it again here. Choked. You guys want to try it? Yeah. Let's try it. Okay, you ready to see if it'll move? Well, I think it's going to move pretty good. How's it feel?
Good.
Got plenty of power?
Oh yeah.
I got a feeling once they get used to it, that thing's going to rip. Okay, kiddo, what do you think?
It's pretty fun.
What do you think, Luke?
It was the best.
It's awesome. All right, guys. Well, I'm glad you guys stuck around for the update on how we made more power with this thing. This engine's really nice, and it just makes a lot of good power, good torque. It gets these kids up the hill. It's great. We'll give them a couple weeks, and then maybe we'll give them full throttle. But you'll have to come back and watch that on a future episode. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, share this with somebody. I sure appreciate you guys. Let's keep building this community.